And then I read Harper To Kill a Mockingbird. I can't believe I haven't read it sooner. I wanted to, but we never studied it at school. Oh my god, this book. It's so beautiful. So basically, this is set in the Deep South in the 1930s, and it follows two young children, one called Scout, which is a young girl, and one called Gem, and it's basically about their childhood. You're taking a section of their childhood and them growing up, and within their childhood, and years do pass within it as well, their father, who is a lawyer, has to stand up for a black man who has been accused of raping a white girl. And so it's really about Scout, who's the young girl, and she's like a tomboy, and if you've ever seen the film My Girl, she is that girl. That girl in dungarees, really tomboy. I loved her. And so for like the large majority of it, it's just Scout. It's just about a young tomboy girl living in the Deep South. That's all it's about. Then it gets into the case, and it goes into, they sit in the courtroom, the children, and then you just see everything from her eyes, but you don't see the whole entire court case, because she goes out of the courtroom and then she comes back in, and something she doesn't understand, so you don't hear it. So she's 8, and so it's basically about 8-year-old girl, and it's about her look upon racist, you know, behaviour in the Deep South and her views. Oh my god, this book is beautiful. Oh my lord. So much happens. I don't want to like spoil, because you should know nothing. You should know nothing going into this. So many little events happen, and they're not events that at the time you think are that big, but at the end it sort of ties in, and you're like, oh god, it's so beautiful. Just, oh, beautiful, beautiful book. One of my favourite books. One of the books that you should read before you die. Stunning. And I fell in love with Scout, and at the end of it, I didn't want it to end, because I knew I needed a few pages and it would only be a wrap up, and I just kept on savouring it, because I was like, I don't want to leave Scout yet. I just love her, I love her. But just the whole book was stunning, really beautiful, loved it. I then read Savita Kalhan's The Long Weekend. This is about two boys. It's a very short book, it's a YA. Two young boys are waiting outside school for their parents to pick them up, because they go around one of their houses, and then this man drives up in the car. They get in the car, he drives into a massive mansion, and then they have to try and escape the mansion. Now, I thought this was going to be a nothingy horror thing. I bought it from the library because I wanted to sort of like, you know, support the library is what I was trying to say. I wanted to support the library, so I thought I'll buy some books, you know, so I can go in. And so I bought this, and I thought it was going to be like a nothing sort of book. Oh my god, it's so much more than what I thought. And the reason they get in this man's car, it's so clever. It's so obvious at the time. You're like, of course, get in the car. It's not what I thought, a man being like, got puppies in the back, got sweets. It's not that. It's obvious why they get into his car and how this all happens, and when they're in the house. Also, I will say, it sounds like a nothingy book, but there is child abuse in it. That's why the man wants them in that house. So if you have a problem with that, you know, they don't really show the scenes, but they do say certain things that made me feel really uncomfortable, and I was sort of skipping past, because I thought it was going to be like, you know, Child Called It and those sort of pain literature books, which if you like them, they're completely fine. They're just not my deal. But it wasn't. It was, they highlighted it, 'cause, you know, they highlighted what happened, obviously, like they had to, and then they just carried on with the book, and that worked. It's about two boys. One's called Lloyd and one's called Sam, and they're the only two characters you really hear about. It's really told by Sam's perspective, and he has to try and get them out of the house. But with everything he does, there's always a backstory. So he'll be like, we need to climb over this fence. I remember the other day when I was climbing a fence, my sister was doing it better than me because she's a tomboy, and it tells you into his life, which worked, because it's such a short book. They can't do a whole like character development thing properly, so they just put it in at pieces so you really care about the boys and everything. I wasn't over the top with the ending. I don't like it when people aren't really brought to justice. I suppose he was in a way, but I don't know, I don't like that there wasn't like a court case or anything like that. I didn't like that. But it was good, and then at the end it was something like 6 years later. It had like newsflash, and then that was like what happened and who the man was, and then it said 6 years later. It's about the two boys coming together 6 years later. It was a good book. As I said, child abuse is in it, so if that's something that triggers you, then this isn't a book for you. But it was good. It's definitely worth a read, and I would like to read it again. I need to slow down my talking. Okay. I would like to read it again. a little bit slower this time, because I did skip it because I didn't want it to go into child abuse, you know, esque things. But it was a good book, it was enjoyable. Last but not least is A Little Princess by Frances Hodgson Burnett. She also wrote The Secret Garden. Now, The Secret Garden and The Little Princess were made into films, and they were two of my favourite films, so I was so excited to read this. Love the cover because that is exactly how the girl is described. Obviously she's outside the you know, boarding school there. It's basically about a girl called Sarah. From what I gathered, she's about 7, I'm not sure. She lives in India with her dad. Her mum has died and her dad needs to do some work in India, and so he needs to send her somewhere, you know, so she's not there and she's growing up and everything. So he sends her to a boarding school in London, and she's getting on well and that's all fantastic, and also she has a fantastic imagination. And then, I don't think this is a spoiler to tell you because it says it on the back, so it's not. Something happens to her father, I'm not going to say what, and he can no longer pay the bills for her to keep staying there. So the woman who owns it, called like Miss Minchin or something like that, she says you have to become a servant in this house now. To remain in this house, you become a servant. And it's so sad, and it's a little bit like pain literature, I suppose, in certain bits. I only say that because in certain, like, she's not being fed, so she's very skinny, and then she's really dirty because, you know, she's not washing properly, and the woman says, I'm going to scold you, so it does get a bit heavy and you're a bit like, oh god. And I was thinking, oh god, it's one of those books again, second in the month. But it wasn't, because she has a great imagination that sees you through, so she like goes up to her room and imagines things and imagines that everything's okay, and she pretends that she's a princess. That's why it's called A Little Princess. So continually she's just thinking, I'm a princess, I'm a princess, and that sends you through, because if you didn't have that within it, it would be quite a down and very, very sad book. But I did really like it. She's got a friend called Becky who's also a servant. Oh god, I loved Becky. Becky actually I loved more than Sarah. I don't know why. I just connected with her more, and I thought that she was really sweet and lovely. So I absolutely adored Becky. And it was a really good read. It was really good. It was really beautiful. It had a lot of magic within it. I really did love this book. I will reread it because it is really gorgeous. Yeah. This is it. This is all the books that I read this month. I read 6 books and I actually loved all of the books, which is really good. I haven't been making videos every day like I said I would until the 17th of September. I'm not going to be doing that. That's too difficult for me. I lasted like a week and couldn't do it. I also have a book blog now, which is exciting, and I'm going to be putting book reviews and loads of different stuff on there, and book reviews of reviews I'm not specifically reviewing on this channel I'm going to put over there. I'm also going to do videos specifically for my blog, so they'll only be on the blog, only be on the blog, and it will just be like beautiful book covers that I find, or like in bookshops and bookshelf tours and loads of different stuff like that. So go to my book blog and check that out. I'll put the things down below. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you very soon for another one. Bye!